Paper Flowers, Chapter 3. Green-Eyed Jealousy. A bit on jealousy would be good, Virgil muttered in agreement as he looked through the fridge for a snack. It was late. Janice, Logan and Patton were asleep. And if Remus wasn't asleep, then he'd be in his part of the imagination. So Virgil felt safe being himself in the commons. It had been a month since the introduction of his character, and Princey had decided it was time for an encore. When they made a vine starring the prince and Valerie as fair maiden earlier that week, they discovered that amongst the lovely notes were careful pleas to bring the nemesis back. What kind of jealousy, though? Virgil wondered as he spotted some leftovers pizza. What do you mean? Roman asked as he leaned against the kitchen counter next to him. Well, is it, are you cheating on me, jealousy, or hands off he's mine, jealousy? Virgil clarified as he got up and showed Roman the pizza, silently asking if he wanted some. Roman nodded as he thought about the question. Well, I love the drama in the first scenario, but there is something protective about the later that is just hard to resist, he mused. Virgil nodded thoughtfully as he reheated the pizza. Well, we could try out both, see what works, he suggested. Roman smiled. Anxiety had a hard time suggesting activities to do together, but he tried anyway. Excellent idea, he exclaimed, not missing the small smile on Anxiety's lips. The pizza was set on the table, and both sides took a slice. They brainstormed ideas, and in the end they had a few scenarios they wanted to try out. So I have a different villain at my mercy when you come in. Roman sets the scene. Virgil nodded and took a deep breath, getting into character. The previous scene he'd played the "Am I not enough" angle. This time Roman wanted to go more for betrayal. What the frick do you think you are doing? He demanded as he charged at the prince. Roman looked up shocked before being yanked by the sash. Virgil looked down at the floor where the villain was supposed to be. Stay out of this! Then he looked back at Roman. Are my feelings a joke to you? He demanded. Roman started, almost actually afraid of Anxiety. But he'd seen him tear up during Lilo and Stitch only days ago, and remembering that helped keeping him grounded. Spare me your excuses, Sir Underarm-Stink. I'll show you what a real villain is, he growled as he raised his hand as if reading a spell. What is going on here? Virgil let go of Roman and jumped back at once. It was no longer safe in the kitchen. He was caught. This was it, the end of him. Either they'd all find out now, or they would ban him from the upper conscious forever, cause they believed he really was going to harm Roman. Roman, knowing that Anxiety was properly panicking and that he couldn't address that right now, turned around to face their company, surprised. It was Patton, and he looked rather frightened. Roman smiled brilliantly at the fatherly side, stepping forward and to the side to shield his friend, giving him the chance to gather his bearings before having to face Patton directly. Padre, what brings you down here at? He glanced at the clock. To win the morning, he asked. Patton looked him up and down, confused. I heard chatting and came to see what was going on. Are you two all right? What were you doing? Patton asked worriedly. Roman chuckled, a little nervously. He wasn't sure what he could tell Patton without breaking his promise to Anxiety. The scene Patton walked in on must have looked quite worrisome. How to convince him that it was all in good fun? Princey wanted to pitch some ideas, and since I was already up, I was the lucky guy who got to listen to his friend. We were trying some stuff out, Virgil drawled tiredly as he stepped around Roman, his guard back in place. Roman relaxed, relieved Anxiety had taken charge. Then he turned to him with a haughty, teasing expression, crossing his arms and cocking his brow. Oh, please, you liked it. Don't even try to deny it, he scoffed. Anxiety rolled his eyes. Whatever. This won't work for a vine anyway. It's too much trouble to have the prince and the nemesis interact like that. It'll be too much work. They'll get tired of it before we get past the planning stage, he pointed out. I'm going to bed, he announced. Roman was slightly disappointed. They always had to cut their bonding time short because of stuff like this. Okay, good night, kiddo. Patton smiled tentatively. Night, Anxiety huffed before disappearing up the stairs. Roman stretched. Well, I should get some sleep as well, he allowed before setting the dishes in the dishwasher. How did you get them to do that? Patton wondered. Roman shut up confused. Do what? He asked. Talk with you. He doesn't. You two don't like each other, right? He was playing with the hem of his PJs nervously, not quite meeting Roman's eyes. Roman just chuckled carelessly as he explained himself, though he skipped around addressing his and Anxiety's less than friendly past dynamic. Well, you know me. Once I get something in my head, he shrugged. He must have realized resistance was futile. And the chance to threaten me without any consequences must have been inviting. He patted Patton on the shoulder in passing. Sorry for waking you up, Padre. It won't happen again. And Roman meant it. He just had an excellent idea. Virgil had just settled back into his bed when there was a quick light knock on his door. Patton probably wanted to berate him. He probably didn't believe he'd done nothing wrong and was going to tell him off for whatever he thought he had been doing to Princey. Well, he'd better get it over it. Waiting would only make it worse. Virgil got up and opened the door, only to find Roman rushing past him. Princey! He yelled as he closed the door. You know you can be in here. 2 weeks ago, Roman had had a splendid idea to spend as long as he could in Virgil's room to understand him better. Of course, the cautious side hadn't been a fan of the idea, but Roman was adamant and had made the excellent point that as long as Virgil was in the room, he could kick him out whenever necessary. Roman got a lot more respect for Virgil, and Virgil for Roman. They agreed to never let it get that bad again, though. I won't be long, Forlorn Ranger, Roman assured him grandly, smiling from ear to ear, his eyes sparkling. It made Virgil hold off on kicking him out. This was unstained, genuine excitement. By now Virgil knew Roman's styles, and right now he wasn't showing any. And anything that got Roman like this was worth at least listening to. Roman made a flourish with his hand and showed Virgil an elegant silver key. A gift to commemorate 1 month of friendship, he declared proudly. Virgil accepted the key speechless. He struggled to voice what this meant to him. It was tangible proof that Roman considered them friends, that the doubts that plagued him were wrong. It wasn't just some wishful thinking. He genuinely cared enough to call him that, to get him any sort of gift at all. Thanks, he muttered a little flustered. I'm sorry, I didn't get you anything. I didn't know we were supposed to exchange gifts, and before Virgil could spiral, Roman put up a preceding hand. He'd expected Anxiety to do something like this, and he'd prepared his answer. We weren't. I simply decided to give you this. The occasion was a last-minute addition. Now, if you would be so kind as to open the door, Roman suggested, vibrating with excitement as he turned Virgil to the room. Problem was, other than his closet door, there were none. What door? Roman chuckled to himself. Come on, Scooby-Boo. Use your imagination, he teased. Virgil sighed. He felt very silly imagining a door in front of him, and even considering to try and open it. But he'd come to trust Roman, so he gave it a try. And to his surprise, he felt the key slide into a lock. He turned it and heard a click. There was now a door-sized rectangle in front of him, made of light, as if it was peering through the cracks of a door. Suddenly, his sight was taken by a warm pair of calloused hands. Don't freak out. I just wanted to be a surprise, Roman explained, a smile evident in his voice. A smile that grew wider as he heard Anxiety let out a resigned sigh. He was going to play along. Virgil pulled the key from the lock and the door swung open. Even with his eyes closed and covered, he could tell that it was bright on the other side. He could feel a gentle breeze hit his face as Roman guided him over the threshold. They were walking through low-growing vegetation, or it felt like that. He could hear something. "Is that Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star?" he wondered, surprised. Roman just chuckled and moved them farther into the world behind the door, leaving Virgil to notice that it smelled like a candy store. "Okay, ready?" Roman asked, though he didn't give Anxiety the chance to make a witty remark. He took away his hands and immediately stepped to the side so that he could see Anxiety react without ruining the view. It was everything he hoped it would be. Once his eyes adjusted to the light, Virgil was dumbstruck as he took in the purple sky and the cotton candy clouds. He looked down at the field he was standing in and let out an astonished laugh. He turned to Roman, who grinned at his now deep purple eyeshadow. "A field of paper flowers. You've listened to Evanescence," he concluded. Roman shrugged. "They have a way of evoking beautiful images," he allowed. "You, and only you, can use that key to open a door anywhere in the mindscape. To leave, you simply use your door to get to your room." Roman turned and gestured to the direction they'd come from. Now Virgil could see there were 2 doors in the field. One black with silver ribs painted on it, and one red with golden flowers. The back door was open and showed Virgil's room. If you want to visit me or wish to speak with me for any reason, even just for a chat, simply knock. I will come as fast as I can. I have my own key and I will knock on your door should I find myself in need of your skulking presence." They both chuckled. "Thank you, Roman. You didn't have to do this," Virgil told him as he tried to think of a good gift in return. Roman waved him off. "I wanted to. It is a gift for me too. Now we can visit each other and do whatever we want, without risking someone seeing us sneaking around." Roman turned his head to Virgil and gave him a long look to convey how much he meant his next words. "I enjoy your company, Anxiety, and I want both of us to be able to enjoy quality time without looking over our shoulders." Virgil had to look away for a moment to collect his thoughts. And as he did so, he realized what he could give Roman. It wasn't perfect, but hopefully Roman would appreciate the sentiment. "Virgil," he said, trying very hard to sound casual, but he was sure Roman could tell he was dying inside. He looked back at Roman, who was surprised, awed, and moved. Virgil managed a smirk. "You can call me Virg." You sit in your room working on a little comic inspired by the characters made by your favorite online personality, Thomas Sanders. You're not going to post it though. Who cares about a comic about how a prince met his arch-nemesis? Your phone buzzes and you pick it up. Messenger, junk mail. You decide to see what else went on while your phone was charging at home. You scroll through and realize there is a note from Thomas's Vine account. Well, speak of the angel and he shall appear in your notices about 8 hours earlier. You click the note and find the prince, seemingly injured, laying on the floor, unarmed and helpless, staring down the end of his opponent's blade. "This is the end, hero," the villain exclaims. But before he strikes, the camera seems to move real fast, blurring the world. And then Nemesis is glaring back at the camera, which is looking up at him from the ground. Prince POV? "I'll deal with you later," he promises before turning to the villain. The camera changes spot again and is filming the villains in profile. "That is my arch-nemesis, not yours, so back off," he growls. Then he looks back. The scene shifts to an empty room. He got away. Nemesis turns back to the other villains, readying a spell. The villain screamed in fear, the Nemesis in rage. You leave a like and scroll through the comments. As you read, you start smiling. You pause in your seat as you read there are others who love this duo. Maybe you'll publish the comic after all.